Have you ever made a mistake so ridiculous, so utterly wrong, that it actually worked? Because that's exactly what happened to Percy Spencer in the 1940s. He was working on radio technology when he noticed something weird. The chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. Now, a normal person might have thought, well, time for a new pair of pants. But Spencer, he got curious. So he aimed the machine at popcorn kernels, and they popped. Then he tried it on an egg, which exploded in his face. And just like that, the microwave oven was born. Now here's the thing, Percy wasn't trying to invent the microwave. It was an accident, a mistake. But if he hadn't been paying attention, if he had just shrugged it off as a failure, we'd still be reheating our leftovers like medieval peasants. And this isn't just about microwaves. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history, penicillin, post-it notes, even entire scientific theories came from mistakes. So, what if failure isn't the enemy we think it is? What if it's the secret weapon of innovation? Let's talk about how your brain, yes, your brain, is wired to mess up, and why that might just be the best thing about you. Imagine you're a caveman. You see a bright red berry. You're pretty sure it's food, but then again, it could be poison. If you eat it and you're wrong, game over. If you don't eat it, you stay hungry, but alive. That's the brain we inherited. Your brain hates making mistakes, and for good reason. Back then, being wrong could literally kill you. Fast forward a few thousand years, and that same brain is now freaking out over a math test. The fear of failure isn't just about survival anymore. It's about social survival. We're wired to avoid looking stupid, being wrong, or starting out in the wrong way. Blame your amygdala, the part of your brain that processes fear. It treats failure like a predator. Mess up in public, instant panic. That's why your heart races when you say the wrong thing in a meeting. It's the same fight or flight response our ancestors had when spotting a lion. But here is the thing, we're no longer running from lions. The fear of failure is outdated software running in modern hardware. And if we don't learn how to update it, we'll keep playing life too safe, too afraid to take the very risks that lead to innovation. Alright, so failure freaks us out. But what actually happens in your brain when you make a mistake? Well, imagine your brain as a giant control center. You try something, it doesn't work, and suddenly, error alerts. That's your anterior cingulate cortex kicking in. It's a part of your brain that detects when something's wrong. The bigger the mistake, the stronger the signal. Your brain wants you to notice the failure, not to shame you, but to fix it. This is how we learn. Every time you mess up, your neurons literally rewire themselves. It's called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to reshape itself based on experience. Failure forces your brain to problem solve, adapt, and grow. In fact, studies show that when you get something wrong, your brain creates stronger neural pathways than when you get it right on the first try. It's like learning to ride a bike. The first few falls aren't signs of failure. They're how your brain figures out balance. So next time you screw up, congratulations, your brain just got a software update. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history were total accidents. Take Alexander Fleming. He left a messy stack of petri dishes in his lab before going on vacation. When he came back, he noticed something strange. A blob of mold was killing bacteria. Boom, penicillin, the world's first antibiotic. Or how about post-it notes? A scientist at 3M was actually trying to invent a super strong adhesive. Instead, he made a glue so weak it barely stuck to anything. Sounds like failure, right? But instead of tossing it, his team asked, what if weak glue could be useful? And just like that, one of the most iconic office supplies ever was born. Even NASA designs failure into its process. Every rocket, every rover, every piece of space tech goes through countless failures before it succeeds. Why? Because they know that every mistake is data. This is the pattern. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the engine of it. The key isn't avoiding mistakes, but noticing them, questioning them, and repurposing them. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, what could this mistake be teaching me? So if mistake fuels innovation, why do we still treat failure like a personal disaster? Because no one ever taught us how to fail well. Here is how to rewire your brain to embrace mistakes instead of fearing them. 1. Fail fast. Learn faster. Treat life like an experiment. Think of every mistake as a data point. Scientists don't call experiments failures. They call them results. Thomas Edison famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. The faster you test, fail, and adjust, the faster you improve. 2. Curiosity over criticism. Talk to yourself like a scientist. Most of us respond to failure like, wow, I'm an idiot. But what if instead you asked, that's interesting. Why did that happen? Your brain learns best when it's curious, not critical. Instead of beating yourself up, study the mistake like a puzzle. 3. Zoom out. The 10-year rule. Ask yourself, will this failure matter in 10 years? If the answer is no, move on. If the answer is yes, congratulations, you just found something worth improving. The truth is, every success story is just a well-managed failure story. So here's the truth. Being wrong isn't a dead end, it's a doorway. Every mistake you make is proof that you're trying, learning, evolving. Think about it. Without failure, there is no discovery, no innovation, no growth. If everyone played it safe, we would have no airplanes, no electricity, no microwaves. Heck, we might still be living in caves, too afraid to touch fire. The people who change the world aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail, but keep going. So the next time you mess up, don't panic. Pay attention, because that mistake might just be the start of something brilliant. Watch this video next, I think you'll like it.